Welcome back, sports fans. Rob Webster coming to you from on location for Thanksgiving holiday. I'm in Pittsburgh this week. I'm still going to give you a review of week 11, a look ahead to week 12, but let's take a look at how we did in week 11. We did all right in week 11. Quarterback, we like Burrow, Jackson, and Prescott. Those were all wins. We like Taylor and Eckler. Those were both wins. We like Brian Robinson Jr. That was a push. He split with Antonio Gibson. That's going to be their model. Neither of those running backs is going to do great. They're going to do good. They both did good in that game. They both scored points, but neither of them did great just because they're going to have the vulture effect and take points from one another. So that was a push this week. We like DeAndre Hopkins. He did really well. CeeDee Lamb was a push. Just didn't do as good, especially in a 40-3 game. You expect him to get a lot of points, and Tony Pollard was the catalyst in that win. And then we like Mike Williams. That was a fail. He injured his ankle in like the third play of the game or real early on. Didn't play the rest. So that was a tough one, but we took a loss there. The tight end landscape was ugly this week, as it has been all season. We like Dalton Schultz, Gerald Everett, Cole Kmet. They were all pushes. They all didn't do terrible, but none of them did well. Who did we say steer clear of? It was Zach Wilson against New England. That was a win. Matt Ryan against Philadelphia. Another win. We told you to steer clear of the New York Jets running backs. James Robinson, Michael Carter against New England. Wins. That Jet offense managed 3 points. It was ugly game on both sides of the ball. We said steer clear of James Conner. He had a score which salvaged a otherwise not very good game. We're going to give ourselves a push there. It wasn't a loss, but not necessarily a win. We had you steer clear of Deontay Johnson. That was a win. Drake London scored a touchdown, but didn't do anything else beyond that. So that was also a win. Had you avoid Tyler Higbee, that was a win. Had you avoid Dawson Knox, that was a push. So for the week, that gives us 12 wins, 1 loss, 7 pushes. That's about 78%. So, yeah, not bad. I mean, it's a solid high C. Maybe even on a curve, that's a B, So we did all right this week. And then, for the season, after 11 weeks, we're at 73%. So we're passing this class. Not by much, but hey, as I always say, C's get degrees. Let's take a look at our sleepers. We like Baker Mayfield. Apparently, I was crazy and recommended Baker Mayfield in any capacity. He was terrible in that game. So Carolina's just, I don't know. They're going to be starting Sam Darnold this week. So good luck. We also liked Isaiah Pacheco. Kansas City Chiefs against the Chargers. He did well. That was a win. Christian Watson, Green Bay Packers against Dallas Cowboys, or against Tennessee. That was also a win. We liked Robert Tonyan. No, that was a loss. So once again, we're back to our old 50% of our sleepers are hits. So, but as I always say, enough of living in the past. Let's look on to week 12. So who do I like in week 12? Well, a quarterback. I like Geno Smith this week against the Las Vegas Raiders. Geno's just playing well. Even when he makes mistakes, he bounces right back from them, plays well. Watch him in games. He's actually fun to watch this year. He's got a lot of confidence, and that's the key to a lot of quarterback play is confidence. And Geno is playing very confident. He's got weapons around him. Kenneth Walker, Noah Fant, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. He's just slinging that ball out there. And I see that continue against the Raiders. The Raiders, I don't know what to say about the Raiders, but They have not shown up this year. So, but I like Geno Smith this week. I also like Patrick Mahomes this week, Kansas City Chiefs. Um, I like Patrick Mahomes kind of every week, but I just think he'll get a little boost this week. He's playing with. It reminds me of Brady when he really didn't have receivers, and regardless of who you put in those slots to catch those balls, he got the balls where they needed to be. I mean, other than Kelsey, obviously Kelsey's his go-to guy, and that's what Gronk was with Brady. So it's a good model. Other teams in the league, as you can see, people are having success with it. You get a great tight end and a great quarterback, and you just put other guys in there, and lots of competent receivers out there. But Patrick Mahomes this week, I think he'll get a little extra. So I like Tua Tagovailoa. I always butcher your name, Tua, and I apologize. Tua Tagovailoa this week. Miami Dolphins against Houston Texans. Tua is just playing good football. He's going to make sure that the Dolphins win that game. Houston hasn't shown much of anything of being able to stop the run. They've been all right against the pass, but that's where I think Tua is going to make some stuff happen. So I like Tua this week against the Texans. At running back, I like Josh Jacobs, Las Vegas Raiders playing the Seattle Seahawks. I think that's going to be a back and forth game. Two somewhat, at least on paper, talent-wise, evenly matched teams. Their records maybe don't show it. Vegas has had a tough time closing games. They've lost one-score games. I think they're like 0-7 or something, some crazy stat. So I think that'll be a back-and-forth game. They'll score some points. If you're a betting man, take the over in it because you're going to see some offenses play some offense this week. So, and that means a lot of Josh Jacobs. So I see him doing well this week. I also like James Conner. He was on my steer clear last week. I like him this week. He's a very important focal point in that Arizona offense against the Chargers. I see them trying to slow things down, not trying to get in a shootout with the Cardinal or with the Chargers, and so with that comes a steady diet of James Conner. So I see him catching, running, hopefully getting a score. He finds the end zone a lot, like he did last week. Just seeing that continue. I also like Christian McCaffrey this week against 49ers against the New Orleans Saints. Christian McCaffrey stepped into that San Francisco offense and become kind of the main part of it. When you watch their games, they're looking to get him touches, get him the ball, whether it be through handoffs or passes. But he is a important cog in that machine, and that's just going to continue this week, especially against the New Orleans defense that can give you troubles at the line. Their pass defense hasn't been bad, so they're real up and down, but they're going to look to get Christian McCaffrey the ball. So if New Orleans shuts them down, that game plan is going to be get touches to Christian McCaffrey. So I think he'll turn that into points and do well this week. At wide receiver, I like Ja'Marr Chase, the Cincinnati Bengals against Tennessee Titans this week. Ja'Marr comes back. You can tell Burrow, that's his favorite target. When he's not in there, the offense looks a little unfocused. But when he's in there, you can tell they're just Burrow's trying to get him the ball. So He'll be back this week. It looks like back from injury, and if he is, he'll do well against that Tennessee secondary that hasn't done particularly well. They try to get pressure on the quarterback. The Cincinnati line is handling pressure a lot better. You can see against the Steelers last week, they did a much better job than they did in week 1. So look for that to continue, and look for Ja'Marr Chase to do well this week. I also like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Detroit Lions. They're playing the Buffalo Bills on Thanksgiving. So enjoy your turkey. I think Buffalo's going to win that game pretty convincingly. But nonetheless, that doesn't mean that the Lions can't get stats out of it. And so they're going to be trying to keep up with the Bills, playing a fast game. They're going to find their man, St. Brown. You'll see him. He'll get a lot of targets. Hopefully turn into a lot of catches, yards, scores. So, I'm on St. Brown Thanksgiving. I also like Terry McLaurin against Washington. They're playing the Atlanta Falcons this week. That Washington team's they're on the rise. They're playing some good football. They got Carson Wentz out of there. Their defense is playing better. A lot of good things going on there. And Terry McLaurin, that dude's a stud. So get him the ball. He's going to make things happen. So I see that continuing this week against a kind of weak Atlanta secondary. So look for him to get a lot of targets, turn that into points, put him in your lineup. Takes us to tight end. So who do I like at tight end? Nobody? Yeah, exactly. But got to pick someone. So first one I like is TJ Hawkinson. Once again, playing on Thanksgiving Day with the Minnesota Vikings against the Dallas Cowboys. He'll see a lot of targets. They'll try to shut down Jefferson maybe, or you can't shut down Jefferson, but we'll see what happens, how Minnesota bounces back. Oh wait, I said they're playing on Thanksgiving, playing New England. I don't know if I said Dallas, I apologize. But TJ Hawkinson against New England, that New England secondary is tough. So they're going to shut it down. And Kirk Cousins is going to need to move the ball. So he's going to find TJ Hawkinson. And so I like him this week. I also like Pat Freiermuth, Pittsburgh Steelers against the Indianapolis Colts on Monday night. I think that that Indianapolis secondary is going to shut Kenny Pickett down, but he's going to have to move the ball. Najee Harris is going to move the ball. So he's going to be looking for his tight end a lot. So, yeah, I like Pat Freiermuth this week. He'll see plenty of targets. I don't know who's going to win that game. It's going to be a real. I think Indianapolis, quite honestly, but we'll see. But I still see Pat Freiermuth seeing a lot of targets, turn those into catches, scores, hopefully yards. So Pat Freiermuth this week. I also like Logan Thomas, tight end, Washington Commanders against the Atlanta Falcons this week. Like I said earlier, I like that Commanders team. They're on the rise. Taylor Heineke's getting the ball around. He's a solid quarterback. And I just see Logan Thomas kind of seeing more targets, hopefully turning it into points. We'll see. Like I said, tight end is a graveyard this year, so I'm kind of pulling at strings here. But that offense for Washington's on the rise, so maybe look for Logan Thomas to kind of benefit from that. That leads us to who would I steer clear of this week? Well, first guy I'd steer clear of is Marcus Mariota, Atlanta Falcons against Washington Commanders. As I've said, that Washington defense has been looking better and better every week. They're playing some decent football, so they were kind of a mess at the beginning of the year, and just trying to find their purpose, or their what drove them, and they've been playing a lot better, especially once they get Chase Young back. look out. That defense is going to be tough. Um, Marcus Mariota just he's looked serviceable, but not great. So look for Washington to shut him down. I'd also steer clear of Aaron Rodgers this week. Green Bay Packers against the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, I mean, you've seen Green Bay. Nothing's looked good. I mean, other than his connection with Christian Watson, I mean that's been a nice surprise. You just still aren't seeing anything kind of worth moving on. So, or at least any consistency. That Eagle defense is tough. That secondary is real good. So I think Aaron will struggle this week. I'd steer clear of Cordarrelle Patterson and the Falcons against the Washington Commanders. You see a trend here. I think they're going to shut that Atlanta team down pretty much. Watch Atlanta. They're just this boring. They like to run the ball a lot, but if you can stop the run, they don't have much going in the passing game. So look for the Commanders to be able to do that and kind of take them out of the game early. I'd also steer clear David Montgomery, Chicago Bears against the New York Jets this week. That Jets defense is tough. I mean, they shut down New England, held them to 3 points. They're playing good ball. I mean, they're for real. And with an injured Justin Fields, and I mean, who knows with Chicago what's going to happen there. But look for the Jets to kind of key in on Montgomery and take him out of the game and maybe make Justin Fields win that game through the air if he's even playing. So that's another question mark whether he's playing or not. So all of these things factor into steer clear of David Montgomery this week. I'd also steer clear of Garrett Wilson, New York Jets against Chicago Bears. So on the other side of the ball, that game's going to be. I mean, you saw New England Jets last week. I think this Jets Bears game might be kind of similar. Be a low scoring, kind of just tough, gutted out football game. So we'll see how they do, but I'd steer clear of most of the players in that game, including Garrett Wilson. I'd also steer clear of Adam Thielen this week. Minnesota Vikings against New England Patriots. You saw the New England Patriots defense. They're playing great ball. They have been for several weeks now. They're in their groove. Adam Thielen just hasn't been a factor this year. I've mentioned it before. He's been on my steer clear list before. We were effective then. He's just not going to see much. They're going to get the ball in the hands of Jefferson. Look for T.J. Hockenson. Thielen's just not going to be a factor in that game. So I'd steer clear of him this week. At tight end, who would I steer clear of? The whole lot of them, except for Kelsey and Andrews. Yeah, pretty much. Two that kind of jump off the page at me. The first one, Robert Tonyan. Green Bay Packers, Philadelphia Eagles. He's just not going to. He's not seeing the volume, the targets. There's nothing going on there that's worth putting in your lineup. So I'd steer clear of him every week until he shows that he can even do anything with consistency. So don't even be fooled by maybe 1 week when he scores a touchdown or gets a couple catches. Until he shows any consistency, steer clear of him. I'd also steer clear of Tyler Conklin, New York Jets against Chicago Bears. Once again, I think that Jets-Bears game is just going to be kind of like the Jets-New England game last week. Just defense, which leaves Conklin kind of as an odd man out. So I'd steer clear of him. Zach Wilson's not playing good football. So we'll see what happens there, but I'd steer clear of Tyler Conklin this week. That takes us to my sleepers. So who are my sleepers this week? Well, remember, back to consistently picking 50%. So look for 2 of them, put them in your lineup. Pick the right 2, you'll you'll be singing my praises. Pick the wrong two, and you'll be cursing my name. So at quarterback, at sleeper, I like Taylor Heineke. He's playing some good football. Always has the potential to boom. He's got a lot of talent around him. Both running backs are back. Gibson, Robinson. You got Terry McLaurin. Dotson's back. Curtis Samuel. A lot of talent there. And Heineke is a guy that can make the most of that. So we'll see what he does. But he's playing Atlanta this week, so I do like him as a sleeper. You need a flyer quarterback. You want someone with a little potential to boom this week. I think Taylor Heineke's your guy. At running back for sleeper, I like Latavius Murray. They just got rid of Melvin Gordon because he fumbled. I don't know what's going on there in Denver, but I feel bad for Melvin Gordon because he hasn't looked bad. He's had some possession problems, but nothing that can't be overcome. And he's hardly the problem there. But that just means you're going to increase Latavius Murray's workload. He's a solid back. He's a guy, just a big bruiser, going to get a lot of yards. Playing the Carolina defense, it's just not great at stopping the run. So you need a flyer. Latavius Murray's a good guy to go pick up and slide into your running back spot because he's got some potential to get some points this week. Another sleeper, wide receiver, Demarcus Robinson, Baltimore Ravens against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Demarcus Robinson is slowly becoming the number one receiver there. You thought it was going to be Devin Duvernay, but since their number one went down, Devin Duvernay has done nothing. And so DeMarcus has really seen the most targets other than Andrews and really made the most of the opportunity there. And so you need a wide receiver that's got some potential to get you some points. I'm telling you, Demarcus Robinson, good sleeper. Put him in your lineup. If you're in the need for a receiver, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. And finally, I'm calling tight end Greg Dulcich, Denver against Carolina. This one's just kind of a gut feel. Carolina has not defended the tight end very well. Russell Wilson's not finding his receivers well. They're still going to move the ball against Carolina. I do a good job with that. So you're looking for a sleeper tight end. Like I said, I don't know if Dulcich is a guy you really want to put in your lineup or even put on your roster, but you have a need. The waiver wire is looking pretty thin. I think he's a guy has some potential to score some points this week. Just Carolina just hasn't defended that tight end very well. So, but once again, I want to thank everybody for watching. Have a blessed Thanksgiving, everybody. Enjoy week 12, watching football Thursday, Sunday, Monday. Hopefully your team's doing well. But as always, you got any questions, leave them in the comments section. I will respond. But once again, thanks everybody who watches. I appreciate it very much. And have a great weekend. Thank you very much.